People's Initiative ay isang politician's initiative. Pareho pa rin silang PI, Mr. President. This is an insult and outright affront to the space duly afforded to us by the Constitution. A space intended to accommodate our people's capacity to introduce reforms. No matter of personal and collective privilege. Ginoong Pangulo, simula po noong nakamit natin ang ating kalayaan, 8 bersyon ng konstitusyon ang umiral sa ating bansa. The 1989 Malolos Constitution, the Philippine Organic Act of 1902, the Jones Law of 1916, the 1935 Constitution, the 1943 Constitution, the 1973 Constitution, the 1986 Freedom Constitution, and our present Constitution, the 1987 Constitution. Sa 8 Philippine Constitution na aking nabanggit, tanging sa 1987 Constitution, lamang po natin matagpuan ang People's Initiative bilang pamamaraan para amindahan ang konstitusyon. Isa po ang People's Initiative sa mga probisyon na nagbibigay ng kapangyarihan sa mamamayan na magpasimuno ng reforma sa pamahalaan. In the words of Justice Panganiban, in his separate opinion, in the case of Miriam Defensor Santiago versus Comelec, and I quote, "Initiative like referendum and recall is a new and treasured feature of the Filipino constitutional system. All three are institutionalized legacies of the world-admired EDSA people power. Like elections and plebiscites, they are hallowed expressions of popular sovereignty. They are sacred democratic rights of our people to be used as their final weapons against political excesses, opportunism, inaction, oppression, and misgovernance, as well as their preserved instruments to exact transparency, accountability, and faithfulness from their chosen leaders." End of quote. I repeat, Mr. President, it is a sacred democratic right of our people to be used as their final weapons against political excesses, opportunism, inaction, oppression, and misgovernance. Ito po ang isa sa purposes ng People's Initiative as envisioned by the framers of the 1987 Constitution. Pinahahalagahan po ng saligang batas ang gampanin ng mamamayan na siguruhin na patuloy na lalamanin ng mga pahina nito ang kanilang mga interes at kapakanan. After all government authority emanates from the people. However, if the people are being misled, deceived, and coerced to sign a piece of document proposing to amend the Constitution for a certain amount of money, then the initiative is invalidated. Worse, its intentions are tarnished. The sacredness of initiative is stained by selfish motives. Ang pinagtataka po natin ngayon, bakit tila ang umiikot na so-called People's Initiative ay isang politician's initiative? Pareho pa rin silang PI, Mr. President. This is an insult and outright affront to the space duly afforded to us by the Constitution. A space intended to accommodate our people's capacity to introduce reforms. Ginoong Pangulo, mga kababayan, mayroon pong 3 pamamaraan upang baguhin ang mga titik ng ating konstitusyon. Ang dalawa sa 3 proseso na ito ay nangangailangan ng direktang partisipasyon ng mga halal na mga mambabatas, mga kongresista at tayong mga senador. Nag-iisa po ang pamamaraan na nakareserba para sa taong bayan para amendahan ang saligang batas. Ito po ang tinatawag natin na People's Initiative. Bakit po kaya hindi gamitin ng mga politician na nagsusulong na Politician's Initiative ang 2 pamamaraan na nasa konstitusyon kung gusto nilang baguhin ang ating saligang batas? Bakit hindi pa sapat sa ilang mga mambabatas na mapagkalooban ng 2 pagpipilian para baguhin ang konstitusyon? Kailangan ba na pati ang direktang inilaan para sa ating mga mamamayan ay kukunin at gagamitin ng mga gahamang politiko. Tila Ginoong Pangulo, sa pagdaan ng mga araw, mas maraming katanungan pa ang nadadagdag kaysa mga kasagutan sa Politicians Initiative. Pero isa po ang nabigyang linaw. Mayroong mga kumikilos upang manlinlang ng ating mamamayan. Mga individual at mga grupo na tila ang tingin lamang sa pamahalaan ay isang negosyo na pwedeng pagkakitaan. Handa silang mamuhunan sa pagbili ng mga pirma o lagda. Napakadali lamang, lalo na kung hindi naman kinabukasan ng bayan ang kanilang turing dito, kundi isang tseke na maaari nilang ipalit sa salapi pagdating ng panahon. Nakalulungkot ang pinagsamantalahan ay siyang mga kababayan natin mga walang-wala sa buhay. Sila na ang mga nagdarahop at naghihikahos. Silang mga nagugutom at walang hanap buhay. May mga pagkakataon na ilan sa ating mga kababayan na pumirma sa kadudang People's Initiative ay wala ng ibang makakapitan kundi patalim. Kapalit ng munting halaga ay pagsangla ng kaluluwa. Nakagagalit na silang mga vulnerable ang palaging target ng panlilinlang na mga politikong may mga pansariling motibo. Nakakapanlumong isipin kung paano sinamantala ang kahirapan sa buhay ng mga mamamayan para lamang sa sariling kapakanan ng mga nasa kapangyarihan. Minsan naisip ko, Mr. President, kung nangyari ito nung bata pa ako, malamang kasama ang aking mga magulang sa mga hihikayatin nilang pumirma. At dahil mahirap lang kami, baka nga pumirma sila. Kaya ganun na lamang ang aking galit, Mr. President, sa pananamantalang ito. Pumirma ka na lang, bahala na kung hindi naintindihan, di bale, may 100 pesos ka o kaya 3,000 pesos, may panghapunan na kayo ng pamilya mo. I feel it is my obligation to stand up for the poor because I know what it is like to believe that you do not have a choice. It is my obligation to tell every single one who is listening to me right now, be it inside these halls or on some video being aired, you always have a choice. And the Senate is ready to support you in making a real, informed, dignified choice. Ginoong Pangulo, nais ko pong susugan ang pananawagan ng ating majority leader, Senator Joel Villanueva. Hinihikayat po natin ang ating mga kababayan na niloko, pinilit maging iyong mga nakatanggap ng panunuhol kapalit ang kanilang pagpirma sa isang dokumento kung saan hindi malinaw sa paglahad kung ano ang reforma na gustong iamyenda sa konstitusyon. Lumantad kayo at huwag matakot. Tulungan niyo po ang inyong Senado na pananagutin ang mga nagsamantalang sa mga kahinaan. Laging bukas ang bulwagan ng Senado at handang pangalagaan ang sinumang nais magsiwalat ng katotohanan at nagmamahal sa ating bayan. May kasabihan po tayo, walang manluloko kung walang magpapaloko. But you know, Mr. President, I think this saying is a case of victim blaming, lalong-lalo na sa sitwasyong ito. Sa kasalukuyang panahon, tingnan natin ito mula sa ibang perspektiba. Patawan ng parusa ang mga naluloko at huwag ipataw ang sisi sa mga inosenteng naloko. If the ill-intentioned have done their part in attempting to distort and destroy the very spirit of initiative, I implore the Senate, let us not allow such distortion to succeed. Let us take the initiative, so to speak, to protect our people from sinister motives. Protect, most especially, the ones who are unable to do it for themselves. The Senate does not and will never infringe on the right of the people to exercise the right guaranteed by the Constitution. Justice Panganiban declares that, and I quote, the right to propose amendments to the Constitution is really a species of the right of free speech and free assembly. And certainly, it would be tyrannical and despotic to stop anyone from speaking freely and persuading others to conform to his her beliefs. As the eminent Voltaire once said, I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. After all, freedom is not really for the truth we agree with, but as Justice Holmes wrote, freedom for the truth that we hate. End of quote. I would like to assure our Filipino people that the Senate, as the last bastion of democracy, does and always will support the people's clamor to institute reforms, whether this would be crafting laws or amending the Constitution itself. The Senate exists because of the people, and we will continue to push for the uplifting of the life of every Filipino. In the event that our people would come to truly believe that it is only through their own efforts that they can rewrite the letters of the Constitution to a form and content that they think embodies their ideals, I am sure that the Senate will be the first to support. However, the Senate will also be the first to condemn if the right to people's initiative is being bastardized by enterprising politicians. The Senate will not allow and will therefore condemn any form of threat, coercion, or bribery that compromises the future of our country and our people. I call on the persons behind this deceptive and fraudulent people's initiative. Make amends, not to our Constitution, but to the people, our people, whom you have maliciously enticed to unknowingly sell their future. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.